folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Have you noticed an increase in price of goods when you go to the store? When you buy your groceries, have you noticed the prices are going up? And if they're not going up per each product that you buy, have you noticed shrinkflation, which is where you're paying the same price for, say, a can of something, but you notice that there's less in it. And that's what they do. You may buy, say, a bag of chips for $3, and you've always paid $3 for those chips, but instead of there being, say, in 24 ounces, there may only be 18 ounces in that bag of chips, or whatever the product is that you're purchasing. The fact is that most of us, if not everyone, has noticed an increase, an uptick in prices in what we purchase. Food, lumber, gasoline, houses, everything's going up. And with all the stuff that we've been talking about here lately that's happening, this is certainly one of those really important ones that we don't need to get distracted away from, because the amount of inflation that's happening is pretty significant, and our economy as a whole is really struggling. I mean, I know that when you watch, or if you watch mainstream news, or if you watch people from like the Treasury Department or the Federal Reserve, and they make it sound like we're on this great recovery, why we're just bouncing back. America's the strongest it's ever been when it comes to the economy. Why, it's amazing. And yet we sit here and we think, it doesn't feel that way. I mean, I'm paying a lot more money than what I've paid before, maybe ever paid before. Something's up. Well, it's true. It is something that's up. We have multiple different things happening all at once, which quite possibly is making this much worse than the inflation that we dealt with in the late 70s and early 80s. And even possibly much worse, or at least it's headed down a path that could get much worse than what was seen back in the 20s during the Great Depression. We are getting warnings just about everywhere anymore. The Walmart of CEO is saying that they're struggling to get enough stuff to keep their shelves filled, and they're expecting this supply chain problem to exist well into 2022. And this is something that we're hearing all over the place, that the supply chain problems could last at least another year, maybe 2 years, and probably get worse. And now that there's these new mandates on employees and employers, there's a lot of people that are saying, you know what, I'm not getting it. And if it costs me my job, it costs me my job. I'm just not going to do it. There's threats of walk-offs, of protests, of strikes all over the place in just about every different sector. We're already seeing results of it up in New York. A particular hospital has shut down their labor and delivery department because they don't have enough nurses to staff it any longer. And this is becoming a problem over and over again. We're hearing everywhere. Other companies are talking about price increases. 3M, which is a huge company, they're warning that they believe that this inflation is a problem bigger than what most people think it is. And it's here to stay. Kroger, the nation's largest grocer, is saying, get ready, folks. This inflation, it's going to be here a while. It's not going away, and it's probably going to get worse. The Fed came out and said that, yeah, inflation is worse, and it's here to stay for a while. In fact, if you look at this, they predict that this inflation rate that we're at right now is probably going to last for at least 3 years before it starts to drop. At least 3 more years. And I know a lot of you are looking at it and saying, well, especially you older folks, you're thinking, wow, 5.5% interest rate or inflation rate isn't that bad. Well, I remember back in 1980 when it hit 15%. Well, that's 3 times what it is now. Except they don't figure inflation in the same way that they did back then. They've changed the methods. They've changed the ways that they figure and what they use to figure it in. In fact, here's a website, shadowstats.com. You can go to and find out more of how they figure this. And it's showing how the inflation rate and how they figure it, this is based on how they figure it, kind of had a divergence at around 1990. 1980, we saw this spike in inflation rate right around 15%. Around 1990 or so, they start to kind of do this. So if you go all the way over to now, the inflation rate that they say we're at is around 5.5%. But look at where it actually is as compared to the way it was figured back in 1980. Puts us right around 13.5%. 13 to 13.5% is our actual inflation rate right now. And it could get worse, especially with all the stuff that's going on that seems to just be getting worse. Like I said, we've had these recent mandates that you're all aware of that's going to affect quite possibly 2/3 of the American workforce. And there's certainly going to be some of them that are just going to refuse to do it. And then what's the solution there? What's going to happen? Either people are going to get fired, either people are going to quit, or companies are just going to have to pay the fine. And think about that. Think about the companies that are going to have to pay the fine. That's cutting into their bottom dollar. It's cutting into the economy. It's more money being transferred from private companies, private individuals, small businesses, because that's what it's really going to affect, and being transferred over to, well, the elites and the government. This isn't going to help the situation. This isn't going to help inflation. The less workers that we have, the slowdown of products, it's not going to help inflation, folks. This problem is going to be here for a while. We're seeing more and more articles put out warning people, hey, inflation is a problem, and this problem is going to probably be here for a while. So while we're being distracted by all these other things happening in the news, and again, like I've said before, many, if not most of them, are important things, but they're also a distraction for the big things that are happening. I put out a video, I believe it was yesterday. I don't know, I've slept since then, giving you my opinions of what's going on. And I said that I think that they are trying to purposely crash everything. They want to see the American civilization, the American system, they want to see it crash so that they can usher in this new era with new agendas and a new governance system, a new economy, a new manufacturing, everything new. That's what they want, to propel us into this fourth industrial revolution. Well, part of that, I believe that they're trying to crash the economy. I believe they want it to. They want it because they want to push a digital currency on us. This isn't really just my little conspiracy mind working for us. There are certainly loads of evidence all over the board of top banks, Federal Reserve, Treasury chairpersons, everyone for several years now has been talking about how digital currency is the way to go. We have to usher in digital, we have to push it, we have to have it, we need it. We need to get rid of this paper money. I mean, it's worthless anyways. It's like they're finally admitting that. We've been saying that for years. This stuff is worthless. Like, it's not even worth the paper and ink it's printed with. And they're finally saying, okay, yeah, you're kind of right. That's why we need to have digital currency. It's way better, way more safe. And guess what, folks? If we have digital currency, you don't really even need to worry about a little passport of whether you got this or not, because they can just turn off your money whenever they want. They can control it completely. That's the brilliance of having digital currency. They can tell you, Joe, yeah, you're not buying guns anymore. Yeah, you bought too much ammo now. Oh, you're not buying healthy enough. Your menu, the food that you're buying for your home isn't green enough. So we're going to you're buying too much red meat. We've told you, you can only have about a bite of red meat a day, so we're cutting you off, and you're no longer allowed to buy red meat. And when you go to the store and you try to purchase it, your new digital currency won't work. I mean, you could probably buy a little bag of bugs and take that home and eat it, but no red meat for you. This is what I think that they're pushing. So we have to get ready for it, folks. I think this winter is going to get kind of rough. And I'm not just talking about the temperature. I'm talking about the availability of goods. When we look at the supply chain that's already falling apart, it's struggling. And I mean, it's really struggling to stay afloat. And then the very possibility that there's going to be a lot less employees, a lot less workers in all different sectors of the American economy just not working anymore because they refuse. They say, hey, you know, if that's my only option is to get this so that I can keep my job, I'll go find someplace else. This is the line in the sand that I have drawn, and I'm not going to back down. There will be a lot of people that do that. So you have this system that's already weakened, that's already fragile, that's already coming apart, and we have inflation getting worse, and it all comes crashing down, and that's when the new digital currency comes available. That's my opinion anyways, okay? So don't take that as prophetic or as that's exactly what's going to happen. That's just my opinion. So how do we get ready for that? Continue stocking up as much as you can, not just in food. Food is important, but stocking up in other things. Having the availability to grow food, to produce your own food, to preserve your own food. The things that you need around the house. If you have a little homestead, if you're heating with wood heat, do you have enough, or do you have the ability to cut more and to prepare more for that? A lot of things you just need to be stocking up on. Parts for your cars, just everything, right? And then you need to be building community. This is something I talk about now just about every video, and I do it because it's important. You need to be building community and working on how to barter and trade with each other. Many of you know how to do it because you do it all the time, but it surprises me that a lot of people, they really don't know what bartering and trading means with each other, because in some places in America, it's just not done. We need to do that. We need to barter sometimes our skills, our mind, our wisdom for their products, for what they've produced, whatever it is. Because as inflation keeps going up, and as it's here for a long time, it's going to start hurting you, okay? Unless you're just wealthy, most of you probably aren't. This inflation and the availability of goods, or the lack thereof, it's going to start really hurting you, folks. And if it gets to the point that it starts collapsing and they usher in a digital currency, that's when it's going to start getting pretty bad for a lot of folks. So continue to prep up, get your mind ready, because this is a psychological warfare. Get your soul ready, because it's spiritual warfare. Get your body ready, because it's kind of like warfare, folks. Get your houses in order, because every indicator, I've said this for quite a while now, every indicator that I am looking at is showing that the next coming months, 3 months, 6 months, 18 months, 24 months, it's probably not looking too good for most people. So get yourselves prepared. Winter is coming. Prepare for a harsh one, because it could be. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next video.